This is gonna stick in your brain for a long time, so I'm sorry, but if you are interested in weird science, things like particle physics and religion, this is gonna be in your brain for a while. I'm Jeremy. I'm a deep skeptic, also a pastor. Okay, we're gonna cut to the chase. If you want to deep dive into any of this, you can deep dive as deep as it goes, because it goes all the way down. But let's start with the idea of something called quantum entanglement. Basically, particles, like electrons, like very, 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 very small things, they have a spin to them. And the scientists will say they have like an up spin or a down spin. And and they're quantumly entangled, which means that if you change the spin of one of these two particles from up to down, then the other one swaps directions. So if you turn one down, the other one turns up. That's interesting. What's really interesting is if you take these two particles and you separate them by hundreds or thousands of miles and you change the particle down, if you turn one down, the other one instantly, on the other side of wherever it is, turns up immediately. There's a communication, a connection between them that exists way beyond at the scale that is massive and is hard to even comprehend. It's like they're part of something bigger, a bigger whole. It probably has something to do with something called particle wave duality, but it also has something interesting to make us think about in terms of religion. So we're made up of these particles, of millions, billions, trillions of these particles, all the electrons, all the things that make up who we are. And these particles are entangled with other particles, and they're tangled with other particles all over the place. And now when those particles change, they shift their spin from one to another. It changes the spin of the particle that they are entangled with instantaneously. And here's the question: what if that is a sense of knowing? What if that's the thing that, like, when the particles change, all of a sudden you know 1,000 miles away that your grandfather died? The particle shifts, something happens in the universe inside somebody you love, and you're like, no, I'm gonna need to call them. And you call them, and that's the moment they needed the call. What if our bodies, like the very essence, the elements, the atoms of our bodies aren't just substance, but a way of knowing? What if that is how we connect with God? And what if that is part of how we experience transcendence, when our particles get wrapped up into whatever this bigger thing it is that connects them, that we can't measure and we don't understand? You're welcome. And I'm sorry, because you're gonna think about this for a minute. Also, hat tip to Brian Greene and Susan Miller for logging this in my brain in a way that my obsessive brain can't stop thinking.